Isometric exercises. Why this workout regime is so good for you. Dan Gordon and colleagues from Conversation report, exercise is great for improving heart health, but the thought of hitting the gym or going for a jog might put some people off from doing it. And if you have a heart condition already, such dynamic exercise may not be safe to do. The good news is you don't necessarily need to do a vigorous workout to see heart benefits. You can even improve your heart health by holding still and trying really hard not to move. Isometric training, as this is called, is becoming increasingly popular as a way of reducing blood pressure and hypertension and improving strength and muscle stability. Normally, to build strength and force, our muscles need to change length throughout the movement. Squats and bicep curls are good examples of exercises that cause the muscles to change length throughout the movement, but isometric training involves simply contracting your muscles, which generates force, without needing to move your joints. The harder a muscle is contracted, the more forceful it becomes, and the more forceful a muscle is, the more powerful we can perform a movement. If you add weight to an isometric exercise, it causes the muscle to contract even harder. A wall sit and a plank are examples of isometric contractions. Isometric exercises are associated with a high degree of neural recruitment because of the need to maintain the contraction. This means these exercises are good at engaging specialized neurons in our brain and spinal cord, which play an important role in all the movements we do, both voluntary and involuntary. The greater this level of neural activity, the more muscle fibers are recruited and the more force generated. As a result, this can lead to strength gains. Isometric exercises have long been of interest to strength and power athletes as a means of preparing their muscles to generate high forces by activating them. But research also shows isometric exercises are beneficial for other areas of our health, including reducing hypertension and promoting better blood flow. There are a couple of reasons why isometric exercises are so good for the heart. When a muscle is contracted, it expands its size. This causes it to compress the blood vessels supplying this muscle, reducing blood flow and raising the blood pressure in our arteries, a mechanism known as the pressor reflex. And then, once the contraction is relaxed, a sudden surge of blood flows into the blood vessels and muscle. This influx of blood brings more oxygen and, crucially, nitric oxide into the blood vessels, causing them to widen. This in turn reduces blood pressure. Over time, this action will reduce stiffness of the arteries, which may lower blood pressure. When blood flow is reduced during an isometric movement, it also reduces the amount of available oxygen that cells need to function. This triggers the release of metabolites such as hydrogen ions and lactate, which stimulate the sympathetic nervous system, which controls our fight or flight response. In the short term, this leads to an increase in blood pressure. But when an isometric exercise is done repeatedly over many weeks, there's a reduction in sympathetic nervous system activity. This means blood pressure is lowered and there's less strain on the cardiovascular system, which makes these exercises good for the heart. Isometric exercises may be even more beneficial for heart than other types of cardiovascular exercise. A study which compared the benefits of isometric exercise versus high-intensity interval training found isometrics led to significantly greater reductions in resting blood pressure over the study period of between 2 and 12 weeks. How to use isometric exercise? If you want to use isometric training to reduce blood pressure, it's recommended that you should do any isometric contraction for 2 minutes at around 30 to 50% of your maximum effort. This is enough to trigger physiological improvements. Yeah, that's 2 minutes at 30 to 50% of your effort. You can start by doing this 4 times a day, 3 to 5 times a week, focusing on the same exercise. As you progress, you can start to vary the exercises you do, add weights to the exercise, or add in more than one isometric exercise. Some good isometric exercises to begin with include a static squat, a wall sit, or a plank. These here are planks, people planking here. This is the picture of people planking. Even during these small bouts of exercise, your heart rate, breathing rate, and arterial pressure will all increase. The same response that occurred during more conventional whole body exercises, such as cycling and running. The beneficial improvements in blood pressure start to manifest around 4 to 10 weeks after starting isometric training, though this depends on a person's health and fitness levels when starting out. Isometric training appears to be a simple, low-intensity mode of exercise that offers big benefits for cardiovascular health, all while requiring little time commitment compared with other workouts. And this is from the conversation by Dan Gordon, Professor of Exercise Physiology, Anglia Ruskin University, Chloe French, PhD candidate in Sport and Exercise Science, Anglia Ruskin University, and Ruben Kane, PhD candidate, Anglia Ruskin University, on Science Alert. This is fantastic, isn't it? Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.